Hey, everybody, what's going on? Jeff Rieger, another episode of the Daily Ticket. This one for Tuesday, October 17th, 2023. I just got a question for you. How was yesterday? How was yesterday walking around, talking to your colleagues, maybe your family as well, talking about the Lions in a way that you've never, ever talked to them about before? It's wild, isn't it? This team in 6 weeks has changed everything we've ever thought about the Lions. It's wild. It's true. For the longest time, we thought the team would always suck. We'll never see a Super Bowl. We'll never see anything significant. We're going to die unhappy. Our football fantasies, if you will never be fulfilled. It's taken all of 6 weeks for people to buy in. And this team's not only legit, they could be the best team in the NFC. Hell, they could be the best team in the NFL. Niners lost on Sunday. The Eagles lost on Sunday. They're definitely one of the three best teams in the NFC. And if you look at the scheduling, and we've gone over this last week, but the Lions have a legit chance to get the number one seed in the NFC, which would mean a first-round bye and the playoffs go through downtown Detroit and Ford Field. That would be unbelievable. It could happen. In fact, I kind of feel it should happen. It's the weirdest thing. I've gone from wondering if his team is going to win to expecting this team to win. And I feel I was one of the few that picked a double-digit victory against the Bucs. People were worried, called it a bad spot. Tampa's coming off a bye. I said, no, I think the Lions are going to win this thing. And the most impressive thing about the win, at least to me, was Detroit rushed for all of 40 yards. They put everything on the back and shoulders of Jared Goff, and all of us people that used to spout off, well, Jared can't win you a game single-handedly. Jared can't put you on his back. He needs help. He needs everything to be perfect. Well, he proved idiots like me wrong. And he has been proving me wrong over and over and over again. And now that David Montgomery looks to be out for at least multiple weeks, maybe more, he's got the hamstring, or make that the ribcage injury. You are getting Jahmyr Gibbs back. You're getting Brian Branch back, so that's good news. It seems like, at least. But Montgomery's not going to play for a little bit. So that means it's going to be more of Goff. And that's how I get to this podcast, this spot that I'm at right now. Let me explain to you. Being a Lions fan over the course of your life, my life, our lives, the people that came before us, it's always been disappointing unless you were lucky enough, I guess, to live in the 50s, right? When they were actually good. But we never thought they could make a Super Bowl, and now we are discussing it like it's just normal. We're making plans for February in Vegas. Tell me you haven't checked at least once to see how expensive hotel rooms are. It's taken all of 6 weeks. All of 6 weeks to change our mindset, to change our paranoia, to change our doubt. We've always wanted at least one time to go to the Super Bowl. We just never thought it would happen. And the other thing we've always wanted to is a great elite quarterback. And I think Jared Goff is that guy. Now, I'm not going to get too much into the trade because I feel we've talked about it nauseum, right? We all know Brad Holmes knew exactly what he was doing. He helped draft Jared Goff in L.A. So when he went to Les Snead and said, listen, I'll give you Stafford. I want 2 first-round picks. Snead's like, you want Goff? Holmes is like, oh, yeah, I want Goff. And Goff has made you fall in love with him. It's kind of like a rom-com, isn't it? Goff is kind of the nerd that goes to his best friend because he's got the hots for the hot cheerleader. The best friend makes him up. Next thing you know, he ends up falling for the best friend. Doesn't even want the hot cheerleader anymore. Kind of what happened here. Okay, maybe this doesn't make sense at all. Made sense in my head. Let's get back on track, shall we? I guess what I was trying to say is nobody expected this fan base to fall in love with Jared Goff, but here we are. And he's got a chance to give you something, another thing you've always wanted, which is an elite quarterback. I mean, we talked about Matt Stafford being elite, but he never really was. I'm not ripping on Matthew, I swear. but he was always the edge of elite. He was always like the second tier quarterback. He had some great games. He had some bad games, turned over the football, I think, way too much for my liking. But Matthew was never elite. I think Goff this year is elite. I think Goff over the last 16 games has been elite. We'll get into it. But even if you had an elite quarterback, even if you believe Stafford was elite, which a lot of you did, you never thought he would win the MVP. And that is the one thing that no Lions fan ever thought they would have. Yes, Barry won the MVP in 1997. He's a running back. He was one of the greatest ever to do it. You never thought you would have a quarterback that won the MVP. And then Jared Goff is here. Like, it's wild, right? All he's done is prove everybody, including myself, wrong. From being the so-called bridge quarterback, falling out of favor with Sean McVay. Now he's found a home in Detroit. He's going to get paid. There's no question about that. He is elite. This season, he's elite. We'll get into the specifics. And I think he should be an MVP candidate, which is something nobody ever thought Detroit would have. An MVP quarterback. You kidding me? Let me make the case. Can I? Will you allow it? Jared Goff's odds to win the MVP started at plus 4,000. This is according to Vegas Insider. Goff has now cut his odds in half. He's plus 2,000. But if you look at the guys that are ahead of him, I don't think it's fair. Currently, Tua Tagovailoa's got the best odds. He's plus 350. Then Mahomes, pretty good, even though the Lions beat him, plus 400. Then Josh Allen, plus 700. Jalen Hurts, plus 750. Brock Purdy, plus 900. Lamar Jackson's plus 1,600. Are you telling me Jared Goff hasn't been better than those guys? I think he has. Jared Goff, and we've already told you, is the best quarterback according to PFF. Pro Football Focus. Now through 6 weeks. After what he did on Sunday, he was magnificent in Tampa Bay, putting the team on his shoulder, his back, however you want to describe it. Jared Goff won you that game. And he hit 10 different receivers. Think about that for a second. 10 different receivers. The second time in 6 games he's done that this season. Going into this season, we all said the same thing. Well, you know what? If I'm going to worry about one thing about the Lions, I'm going to worry about the receiving corps, right? Jared Goff has got that receiving corps to the third best in the NFL. The third best, according to PFF. Helped Sam Laporta with a great start. The chemistry between him and Amon-Ra St. Brown is unbelievable. Khalif Raymond's been good. Even Jamison Williams finally getting in on the fun. You saw that the other day with the 45-yard touchdown. Jared Goff is responsible for all of that. No, I'm not saying those other guys aren't good, but I think Jared Goff has been integral in making sure this offense clicks in the way that it's clicked. Jared Goff has turned over the football less than Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Tua Tagovailoa, Josh Allen, and Jalen Hurts. He's got a better rating than Allen, Mahomes, Lawrence, and Herbert. He's got a better yards per game than Mahomes, Allen, and Hurts. Any category that you want to select, Goff is top 3, 4, 5. And I do believe he's got a lesser supporting cast than the two guys that are always going to be above him, I feel. Everybody talks about Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy has turned over the ball less. He's got no interceptions. Goff's got 3. Brock Purdy has been sacked less. That probably is a compliment to his offensive line. And the Lions have a good offensive line too. But is Brock Purdy going to be as good if Christian McCaffrey is seriously injured? Is he going to be as good without Deebo Samuel if he can't play? I think the answer is no. Kind of the same thing with Jalen Hurts. Eagles have Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown. They got the best offensive line in football too. That Jason Kelce guy is pretty good. He's not dating Taylor Swift, but he's pretty good. I think they have a better surrounding cast than the Lions do. But I think because of Goff, The Lions' offense is better. Have I sold you at all yet? I'm not saying Jared Goff should be the MVP. What I'm saying is his odds are ridiculous compared to the other guys that have so much better odds. On Sunday, Jared Goff had no running game. Threw for 353, completed 68% of his passes. That's now the norm with this guy. And then you get the third downs. The Lions were 9 of 16 on third downs. Jared Goff, let me read this to you. Third downs, 10 of 14, 176 yards in the air, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. That's a 153.3 rating. Got the game ball from Dan Campbell as well. Corey Woods works for MLive, covers the Lions. He's great on Twitter. He had this gem. As of this morning, and I'm filming this on Monday night, so as of Monday morning, only 2 quarterbacks, 2, rank in the top 5 for passing yards and completion percentage, touchdowns, and passer ratings. Only 2 quarterbacks rank in the top 5 for passing yards, completion percentage, touchdowns, and passer ratings. That's 2 in Jared Goff. We already told you about the explosive plays. Jared has the most 20 or more yards throwing. Jared has the most 20 yards or more throws for completions. He's good in the deep ball. People used to question, he can't throw the deep ball. That's all hogwash. It's poppycock. I'm telling you, Jared Goff might not be the MVP. And the odds that he wins the MVP are not good. But the odds are ridiculous. I can read them to you again. Goff is plus 2,000. Tua is plus 350. Mahomes plus 400. Allen's at plus 700. Hurts is plus 750. Purdy is plus 900. Lamar Jackson, who the Lions next play, is plus 1,600. You're telling me that Jared Goff hasn't been as good as these guys? I would say the answer is yes. He has. So I ask you, is Jared Goff an MVP candidate? Is he a real live MVP candidate? Could he do something that we've only dreamed of? Be a quarterback in Detroit that A, wants to be here, B's going to be here a long time, and C, win a freaking MVP? I ask you. Go back to the last 16 games of Jared Goff. He's won 13 of them. He's completed 67% of his passes. 28 touchdowns, 4 picks. In the process, threw for over 4,000 yards. What else does this guy have to do? He's perfect for this offense. He was a surgeon in the second half. He had no run game. Everybody always says the same thing. Well, you know what? I'm not sold just yet. I want to see the guy put me on his back. He did that on Sunday. 10 different receivers. Truly remarkable. Do you know who won the last 10 MVPs? Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, Cam Newton, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, and Adrian Peterson, a running back. Do you believe Jared Goff is as good as those guys? You'll automatically say no, but he has been just as good. I don't think there's been a better quarterback, maybe other than Tua, offensively, that's been as good as Jared Goff. And Tua's got Waddle, and Tua's got the cheetah. And I'm not saying the Lions receivers are chopped liver, because they're not, but I think Miami's offense is better. I think they have better weapons, and I think Jared Goff has made this Detroit offense as good as it is. So I ask you, again, comment section below, is Jared Goff a legit MVP candidate? I'm talking 1, 2, or 3. Plus 2,000. It's ridiculous. I know he's not going to win it. It does seem like there's politics when it comes to the MVP. But this guy has played that good. Nothing phases him. Goes on the road, wins. At home, wins. Do you know that the Lions have won 8 of their last 9 road games? It's ridiculous. All because of this guy and this coaching staff. This team's remarkable, and I think Goff is a main reason as to why they are. And just look at the play to Jay Goff. Can I call him Jay Goff? I don't know. I don't know him well enough to do such things. Went from a guy that nobody wanted. Went from a guy that everybody thought was going to be gone in Detroit. Everybody in Detroit wanted the Lions to draft a quarterback with one of those first-round picks that they got from the Rams. Slowly won you over. Is elite. Is captaining the best football team in the NFL, at least one of them in the Detroit Lions. And he's played well enough to be an MVP candidate, at least in my mind. So comment section below, what do you think? Is Jared Goff an MVP candidate? Let me know. I would say absolutely. And when I say MVP candidate, is he a legitimate MVP candidate? Yes, he should win the damn thing through 6 weeks. But what do you think? Let me know. Let's get to the comments. If you watch the Daily Ticket, I do appreciate you. People that leave comments, I read them all. I try to interact with them. And I bring them to the next podcast. I always have a good podcast, or a good comment rather, and a bad comment. But today, let's do 2 good comments. Because my last podcast yesterday, a lot of people watched, a lot of people commented. I mean, everybody's so happy about the Lions. There's no reason to have a bad comment. So let's read a couple, shall we? This one comes from EDW4956. It feels so good to have my friends and associates tell me congratulations after a game. I've been a fan even through the 0-win season, 5-1 record on our way to the Super Bowl. How about this one? This one comes from Young13, ANTRAXSICAR. Looks like Antrax Cesario. Then there's a CDS afterwards. It's a long name. Says, seeing Anzalone and Cam Sutton in the end zone with him celebrating shows how much this team is behind Jameson Williams. I like that. Glenn Dante's 1128, 7-1. Last 8 road games. So I got that stat wrong, but still, how about that? And then how about one more for you? This one comes from Doug Saint, 4394. Every time a good team faces the Lions have a step better every time. Make them the underdogs and look out. Well, it's funny you mention that because the Lions are officially the underdog. Coming this Sunday, they're a 2.5-point dog as the team goes to Baltimore. And there's going to be no Demo, no David Montgomery. So there's some of the good comments. Please rate, review, comment, download the Daily Ticket wherever you get your podcast, or feel free to watch it on YouTube. Is Jared Goff a legit MVP candidate? Like legitimate MVP candidate? Let me know. I say yes. Have I sold you? Have I given you enough juice to make this drink? Let me know. Until then, we'll catch you on Wednesday, tomorrow, the Daily Ticket. You guys are great. We'll see you. Bye.